what is happiness that everyone is looking for? In actual fact, the more we seek for the happiness, the more miserable we are. Most don't realize that the true happiness is with us, and no one can make us any happier than what we truly are. There is a happiness which is natural to us, a happiness of conscious being, not seeking, not searching, not aiming for, but actually being. And we all are being. Yet we seek for it, believing its experience, feeling better. Someone said something good, and that will make me happy, or might make me happy for a couple of hours, even a week. Then I'm going back to my misery. The happiness that is dualistic, happiness, sadness, is basically the same coin with two sides. That's duality, where everything has to be happy, sad, good or bad, whatever label we give it. But if we don't give it a label, what is it? Just passing manifestation. One day it could be happy, another day sad, or one moment happy, another moment sad. But that which we truly are, our true nature, which is underlying happiness, sadness, thoughts, feelings and emotions, never changes. It doesn't move. It's still, it's silent, it's empty. And there is this enormous joy coming out of it. Joy that knows no cause. It's causeless joy. Just joy of being. The joy of being is untouched. The being is unmoved. Yet we all are naturally joyous beings, but it's just that the concepts apparently obscured seeing it as obvious. Yet we are self-shining light of being that cannot be turned off just like that. No depression can turn it off. We are hearing all these stories, exactly the stories about depression, about suicides by all these people who have basically made something in this life, who are famous, who are wealthy. But why that misery was still there? Just because we are seeking for something which is illusory. Which is misery. Failing to see it is where I am, right here and right now, in this very instance, in this present moment. And there is no other moment if you wonder how to get into present moment. I've seen even titles in the books, how do I get in the present moment? Well, how can you get out of it? There is only this moment, this presence, and this awareness. No one could speak without awareness and presence. No one could listen without it. So as we hear this, it's present right in this very instance. Yet most believe there is something to achieve or something to hear. I need more knowledge. Well, if knowledge was needed for this, why wouldn't school teachers have understanding of this, innate understanding? Well, they might have intellectual understanding, but only a few have innate understanding. Innate understanding is that which is understood without intellect. Intellect is used to start with, but then there is a resonance with that, or by that which is non-conceptual with us. It arises from the stillness and the silence, and that maybe describes our true nature the closest. It's still and it's silent. Yet we learn this intellectually and we start teaching. Everyone loves their knowledge, now they're showing off, failing to investigate their true nature. And Nisargadatta said 8 meetings is enough to get the seed planted. Once it's planted, the seed has nothing to do in the meetings unless it's clinging to the teacher or the teaching, or it's fear. Maybe I stopped addiction. Maybe I quit smoking or drinking or taking drugs or eating chocolate. Now I'm going to be clinging onto my teacher. He's my next attachment. Or maybe my spouse is my attachment. Or maybe my child is my attachment, or my parent. We're always looking to cling onto something. And spirituality is as bad attachment as everything else. Clinging, attachment, or whatever I call it, addiction. So from one addiction to another, spiritual addiction, we just change the label. In fact, Maharaj said that all knowledge is ignorance. And he said that earlier he knew many things, and now he said, I'm sure of nothing. But he said that he didn't feel he lost anything, but not knowing, because all his knowledge was false. And he said that my not knowing was itself a knowledge of the fact that all knowledge is ignorance. So once we see this by heart, that's it. That joy arises from emptiness. And again, in duality, it will be changing again between good or bad, pleasant, painful, or happy or sad, whatever label. But that which we truly are is untouched. The source, the ultimate, doesn't change, regardless of the feelings. Feelings appear dualistically. They're dualistic, same as the thoughts. One day you might say, oh, I'm having happy thoughts, and the second day you might say, I'm having sad thoughts or suicidal thoughts. Well, if you're having happy or sad thoughts, why would you go there? Why don't you stop for a moment? Just pause the thinking, stop the thinking, and that which you truly are, the stillness and the silence, will open up and it will become very obvious. And what you do, the thoughts come, stop. And I would say simply shut up, stop searching, stop talking. Stop believing the thoughts. And you might say, who's gonna do that? It can make effort. Effort will be needed, but one gets used to it. Have a look what is having the thoughts, maybe, rather than watching the thoughts, believing there is someone watching the thoughts or something. Nothing watches the thoughts. Thoughts arise from the emptiness. So, where is the thinker? Or who is watching through these eyes? Always come back to that, rather than going in the world and with the thoughts, and the thoughts kick in and we start seeing false in everything, apart from ourselves, apart from investigating to see what we truly are. Is there such a thing as a thinker? What is watching? Okay, there is seeing. I see, you say. There is seeing of things. But what sees it? I can't see my eyes. I can see the space in front of the eyes. Very easy. There's a space everywhere. But I can't see my face. Is there such a thing as face or eyes? Or is there just a space there? Watching the space. All is one big space, and nothing can leave the space. No sound, no explosion. Nothing can leave it. In consciousness, space appears. And everything is contained in that space. And you can't cut it. It can't hurt anyone. It can't bleed. It's all one big space, all one big energy. So, what seems to be a problem here? It's just the belief. The belief in self-identification. Show me your ID. Wherever you go, they're going to ask you. Then the story comes with the ID. I am such and such. It's biography. There's a picture and description. Who you are, where you live, where you come from. Rather than asking someone, who are you? Ask yourself, who am I? It's much more powerful, much more useful. That once you know who you are, you'll know who everything else is. And you might see there is no one else but you. Oneness, wholeness, perfection. So everything is perfect in this moment. There is only perfection. There is nothing to be changed. Just stop and see. Simply stop. The problem is that most cannot stop. And it seems it's not our doing. Because life teaches us all. People keep asking, because they love going into duality, who is your teacher? Teacher is you, a life, and you are the life. Life happens and takes us to a certain place to check out and see who we are. Life might make us suffer, the body, the mind. And it might seem very bad from someone's point of view. But there is no such a thing as point of view. Because where is the point? Can you put a dot on the universe? Can you put a dot on the space? So where is the point of view? Who is there to say that something is wrong, including suffering? Because whatever life does, it teaches us. There could be a grieving, and yet we learn. Whoever survives can say, thank God the new door opened. Fresh and new door, fresh and new moment. Because it's always only fresh and new moment. So, what is the difference between life being a teacher and a person being a teacher? If you see a leaf falling off a tree in autumn, you might investigate that and spontaneously and realize that a tree doesn't claim leaf doesn't claim falling down or leaving the tree. Everything just happens spontaneously. A tree doesn't create a story about falling leaf, but human creates story about everything. Makes it a huge event, even about their meals, say. And they would describe the meal, they would say it was like this and like that, smelled like that, wasn't perfect, it was bad and good. You know, a dog sits and eats the meal. He doesn't think about it before it eats it, it just eats. But we have to think about everything before we do something or after we do something. We carry it around for days, months and years. So all our lives we're carrying the same story. So we're adding on, adding and adding the stories, believing in them each time. Just drop the belief about anything, about yourself. And you might realize that you are the stillness and the silence that cannot be described. Even to say it's stillness and the silence is not real, not accurate, because no word is accurate. I don't have to say I'm breathing in order to breathe or survive. Breathing happens, dog eats, and this is the difference between animals and us, and the trees or clouds, doesn't matter. They don't create a story about themselves, but humans do, because they have reasoning capacity. And then with the reasoning capacity, the sense of me started, of ID. I'm such and such. I claim everything. I'm a driver. I'm father. I'm mother. I'm a student. I'm a worker. I'm miserable. I'm suffering such and such disease. Even the teachers, even as non-duality teachers, you can see them all over the internet talking about their illnesses, or describing to detail how ill and miserable they are, what they're doing, and injections, and it doesn't matter. Or how their teaching is the best, someone else's teaching is bad. So no one can help themselves. As long as we are in this body, but we are not the body, this stuff will go on. The difference is, when we recognize our true nature, is that we don't claim that it's happening to me. Most don't anyway, or maybe little of them don't, because someone else saying their teaching is the best, or their illness is the worst, it hurts most, or whatever. It seems as if there is still a person there. actual fact, there is not as much care about the body as what it was before. If your body is uncomfortable, we do something about it. Action happens. But it's really, there is no dwelling on it, and we don't carry on about it, unless one is a person who pretends to know. Full stop. So, going back to that, as a friend of mine, Maura, the other day said, from Canada, she said, just shut up and just be. And that's exactly how it is. Just shut up, stop seeking, and just be. That's enough. Where is the suffering if you shut up? The mind. Only the mind tells you that you are suffering. Only the mind tells you that you are alone. One day you might realize that you are happiest in your own presence, and that no one else can make you as happy. And you'll be alone, but you'll be containing the whole world